on top of the world, about to jump above it. Take it straight to the moon, 'cause we know how to rock it. Ain't no thing you can do, ain't no way to stop it. Now you're feeling it too, let's get it started. Throw your hands in the air while the beat is dropping. Acting like you don't care when everybody's watching. Just keep whipping your hair like that, you got it. Yeah, you're feeling it too, let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. It's starting to heat up, off the charts, off the meter. Turn it up, blow the speakers, make them all to believers. Break through the surface, tell them open the curtains. Give them all what they wanted, yeah. Now let's get it started. I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. Yeah, I'm ready, ready. I'm ready. Are you ready, ready? I'm ready. Let's get it started. Yeah, yeah, I'm ready, ready. Yeah, yeah, let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Let's go. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it, get it. Let's get it started. Let's get it started. Let's get it. Yeah, 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 yeah. Give me something new. Time to break it loose. Take it to another level. Now we on the move. Shout if you coming with me. Going over the limit. On your mark, keep it steady. So tell me, are you ready? I'm ready, ready. Let's get it, get it. I'm ready, ready. Are you ready, ready? Let's get it started.
Jack 1, 2, 3. I think we can hear me now. We missed me last week in the middle of the race, but we are back. We got our audio issues fixed, and it is time for NASRA Racing, race number 3 here at Dover for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. And we are all excited to give you the coverage here on LSRTV. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is that of Kevin England. And I gotta say, Kevin, last week at Watkins Glen, it was dramatic. Found another winner, that about Blake Lothan getting the win. But here tonight at Dover, it could be a completely different mess because we have ourselves over 41 drivers that are already registered to race here tonight.
Yeah, Sam Lothian and Steve Thomas, they were elbows up after a hard-fought battle last week at the Glen. Ted Wade, however, was the show at the Glen, and watching practice right now, Ted looks pretty quick, and we are looking at these guys. You could throw a blanket over the top 5 in practice. We're going to have an outstanding race here tonight in Dover.
Yeah, we are excited for all of it. 41 drivers again here at Dover International Speedway, and this is one of the more unique tracks that we're going to be seeing here tonight, mainly because we're now, instead of asphalt, we're on concrete. The drivers got to deal with this different surface where the tire wear is going to be a lot more dramatic, and the drivers have 150 laps to conquer here tonight. But Kevin, I think what's more fun about, this race, yes, they're on concrete, but also these stages, they're 25 laps each. That means it's going to be very quick dashes to make sure you're up in the top 10.
Yeah, this racetrack lends itself to you got to stay up on the wheel and find speed in every lap for these guys. They know that there's stage points in the offering, and that's going to make a big difference. You got to get yourself a win to get to the championship, but if you don't, those stage points are super valuable, and we expect these guys to race hard all the way through each of the segments.
And we have again, talked about that, Blake Lothian, who got the win last week at Watkins Glen. We also have our winner from Atlanta, that of Daniel Belter, is going to be the driver in the 6 who had a mishap last week. He was removed in the middle of the race. He's hoping to come back and get his second win of the season. But for both those drivers, Kevin, with both of their wins, they are locked into the playoffs. Again, 16 drivers get to make it into the playoffs. It's only race 3 of 14 before we get to the playoff racing action. For the drivers that haven't won this season, I feel like tonight could be a good opportunity. Throughout Ted Wade as a driver to watch out for. Are there any other drivers that you're kind of looking at that could be another driver that has a chance to get their first win here this season?
Yeah, you just look back to some of the winners from previous seasons and wonder if they're going to step up now that we're out of the road course. Stephen Thomas looked pretty good last week. Brady LaBeouf looks good. Certainly, though, I think you got to keep an eye on Daniel Balder before the incident last week. It sure looked like he was going to be in contention for making it 2 in a row. And, you got Robbie Richards, you got Taylor Peacock, Devin Painter. They've all figured out how to get the win here in this series. And, who knows? We could see a first-time winner here for the 3rd time in a row.
We're wondering if that's going to continue on as we now take a look at what our race information is going to be for tonight's event. As you take a look here, you can see the drivers, they're currently under practice, and that is going to be one thing for the drivers is they've had over an hour and 20 minutes for practice for themselves, and then we're going to have qualifying, and then we get to our 150 lap race here tonight. Qualifying is the next step here, Kevin. They've only got 2 laps. What are you expecting for these drivers to try to do here in the early goings here in just a minute?
Yeah, I have to expect that these drivers feel like qualifying is a premium here at Dover because it's so hard to pass. You run right in the slipstream of the truck in front of you when you dive down in the corner. Most drivers running that low line. So job number 1, good qualifying spot, get yourself up to the front of the field, and then it's really about keeping the truck clean, making sure that you don't scrub the tires off, getting to the finish, and putting yourself in a position for the win.
Yeah, and you said it, don't get damaged. There's no fast repair. They're going to have to deal with, if they do get damaged, come into pit road, get that damage repaired themselves. And then also with tires, only have 4 extra sets in pit road to work with. So they've got to make sure that they're not using up those tires too much. But we're expecting, drivers to take tires on the stage breaks, as stage 1 on lap 25, stage 2 on lap 50. And then we're expecting at least 1 green flag pit stop in that 3rd and final stage where they race it to the end. That gives them just at least 1 set of a buffer, which is most likely going to be saved for that final stint and stage if a late caution comes out. But before we get to all those strategies, qualifying is the next thing up as we are seeing. Well, the timer has ticked away. It's time for qualifying, and since the drivers are getting set up, this actually gives us a moment to look at the weather because this is also going to be a factor to watch out for. For qualifying, it is 75 degrees Fahrenheit for the ambient temperature outside. Partly cloudy, but look at the wind, 12 miles per hour. That means those cloud coverage is going to be changing a lot over this qualifying. As a track temp, we saw it drop from practice. It was in the 100s. Now it's 93. A little bit of a cooler stint here, Kevin, as the drivers are getting ready for qualifying.
Yeah, the track temp was up to 105 at the highest a little bit earlier in practice, down to 93, which is going to increase that grip level. These drivers will be able to drive it down harder into the corner and get a little more out of it. Key thing here is when you come up off the corner, don't let the truck go up too high to tag that wall. You'll scrub off your speed, and they're just going to have to get up on the wheel here to get themselves a pole tonight.
One of the drivers that really has a good shot at getting that pole is the 05 of Hunter Parsons from Straight Cash Money Racing. And currently, right now, Hunter Parsons, our leader of the Rookie of the Year award. That is the Over the Top Designs Rookie of the Year award that the 05 has. But there he is, getting loose and into the outside wall and showing even these drivers that were faster in practice, they are struggling out of these corners as well.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. And just like we were talking about, you're going to run right at the bleeding edge trying to get it as Justin Lumpkin takes to the racetrack for the 05. He's going to end up starting out in the back. That was a costly mistake.
Luckily for that of Hunter Parsons, he did not cross out the line, so he's able to reset and still has 1 more lap to go. As here comes Justin Lumpkin, who's going to be trying to put his first time down as the 87th clock is on. But the out of the corner, the transition, that is going to be something we're going to be talking about a lot here. Kevin, as we're seeing the 87 going through 3 and 4 for his first lap, out of these corners seems to be the trickiest spot a lot for these drivers. As once again, it's the Lumpkin almost into the outside wall out of turn 4.
I noticed he was up a lane or so, about a half lane in 3 and 4. A lot of times you want to be right down on the bottom edge when you're coming off that corner. The truck went out, and he didn't let out. He just got all he could, and again, up high in 3 and 4 here. We'll see if he's able to turn it down a little better this time. Looks a little cleaner, and he's going to cross the stripe. And 23-2 22:41 and a 23:163 for Lumpkin. That's going to put him somewhere right about in the middle.
Currently 11th on the board as he's just going to coast it after his time is done as the 87 stays low. We now will move over to the 42 of that event, Osborne. And Osborne was one of the drivers I was watching trying to really just find any practice space. With the amount of drivers that have shown up here tonight, Kevin, practice was very difficult for a lot of these drivers. Kept hearing it over the radio. It is just traffic out here is so clustered and full. A lot of these drivers weren't able to actually get proper practice because everyone was wrecking around and pushing the limit. And there goes the 42 up in the outside wall. Going to be negating that time. And that, you need to see it because anytime you get in that outside wall or get any type of incident point, the lap does not count. And the 42 will have to try this go around and see if he can best that time with the damage that he has.
It's going to hamper his time as he came off, and this is what we were talking about. Coming up off this corner, especially out of turn 4, you're in the slip, the truck is sliding, trying to do all you can to get it squared up and take off with that forward grip, and a 23:671 is the time you could muster. We can update Hunter Parson. He did come back out. Still sitting somewhere near that top 10 right now, so a reasonable recovery for him as we see the Abruzzi number 3 of Chris Cinnamon taking time right now.
Chris Cinnamon going to be seeing what the 3 can put down as this is going to be his first lap of qualifying as we're reaching close to halfway. Over half of the drivers have already put a qualifying time down. Then it's the second half of drivers that decide to come out. Again, the weather was something to watch out for if it was going to change and transition. Been watching the weather and track temp on my end. Been staying at about 93 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's been staying stable for everyone so far in this first 5 minutes as Chris Cinnamon on his first lap going to be putting him third on the board.
Yeah, they're all looking for somewhere around a 22:95. We had 3 drivers, a 22:99 at one point. And to your point, track's still sitting at 93. Some of these drivers will watch that temperature and see if they can fire off at the last minute. The lower the temperature, possibly the faster the lap. Cinnamon ends up with a 22:98, and he's going to pull it down and go in and complete his qualifying.
Hey, y'all are trying to get it the best that you can. Chris Cinnamon certainly did put a very good effort into his first time as we now move over to a driver that is trying for redemption in any fashion. Kevin, race number 1, we saw this Keith Bradley get himself caught up, mixed up with the 6 machine that then ruined his night in our first race. Then we think the last week at Watkins Glen, where we saw that Keith Bradley get into the wall going into the bus stop, trying to get some advantage for himself. But here comes the fast time for the 29. Looks like 14th is going to be the best that he can get for his qualifying moments. But for that Keith Bradley, he is looking for redemption here for our 3rd race of the season at Dover.
Yeah, and a funny place to come to. It's a love-hate relationship. Some drivers just love this racetrack, know how to get around, are able to squeeze every ounce going down into the corner and carry it through, and other drivers that just don't like the concrete. It doesn't agree with them. Is Dale Edmondson on the clock right now, and yeah, we'll see. It's interesting in this early season dynamic where you went from Atlanta to a road course and now to a mile oval. The change in track doesn't really lend itself to let you know how this is going to work out. It's just 3 totally different venues to start the season.
Yeah, these first 3 races had the 1.5 mile at Atlanta, then you had the road course at Watkins Glen, and then the concrete monster mile here at Dover. As Adamson going to be seeing his time coming to a close. We still have ourselves 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. About 35 drivers have already put a time down. There's about 6 drivers, if they feel like it, they can still go out there on track. And there's some drivers that have some speed that still have not qualified. Ted Wade, one of those drivers that has not gone out. Raul Meza hasn't gone out there. Also, that of Brandon Bullock hasn't touched this track just yet for qualifying. Those are 3 drivers that I'm expected to be up in the top either 20 or top 15 here tonight. So we're still waiting to see if they're going to attack this course or not, as we got less than 3 minutes to go for these drivers.
Yeah, it's always interesting to get into this dynamic as a driver because you get in your head, you get in that headspace. You want to go out and run that perfect lap, and almost universally, every driver pulls in, and before they even undo the belts, they're talking to themselves about, I gave something up on the entry to 3, I slipped out of turn 4, and the drivers who sit and wait the longest play the biggest head games, as we see. I believe Wade is departing. He's going to come up to the backstretch here. So some of these final trucks going to come out and put their laps in. Wade, universally one of the fastest trucks each lap, whether he was practicing the long run or the short run in practice. And I suspect that, to your point a moment ago, he's going to put up a top time.
Yeah, and also right now, weather is going to be something to watch out for because, again, when you're waiting and you're expecting and you're seeing a lot of wind out there on the surface, you're expecting this track to cool off. It's looked like it's cooled off by 1 degree. So for the drivers that are waiting, they're trying to get just any small advantage that you can. And for these drivers, I'm looking at it looks like it's going to be for that of Ted Wade. Could be one of the drivers to be topping the board as we got ourselves a minute and 30 seconds left in qualifying. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's grid time here for race number 3 for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We'll be back in just a few.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy, and it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but also...
Sorry, Wesley, we're not going to be talking about CRN. Maybe we'll talk about them later on here tonight. But we've got our drivers that are starting to get gridded up. It is the NASRA race number 3 at Dover. And these drivers are all prepared to see how well they can attack the Monster Mile concrete action for 150 laps. What's stage 1 on lap 25, stage 2 on lap 50. We got a lot of racing to get to. But before we get there, we first get a look at where they're going to be starting. Getting that of Blanchard Towing Pull Award, it's going to be the 2 of Ted Wade, with that of Devin Painter in the 64 to his outside. Row number 2 is going to be fun in that of Taylor Peacock and Chris Cinnamon in the number 3. As we head back to row number 3, behind that of Adam Newberg, as well as that of Robert Richardson in the 48. That of the Brady LaBeouf championship winner from last season is going to be starting off row number 4 with that of Kyle Hess in the 86. Finishing out row number 5, we've got that of our Atlanta winner in the 6, that of Daniel Meltner, as well as that of Blake Lothan, our winner from last week at Watkins Glen. Over to you, Kevin.
11th starting spot, row 6, Jose Luis Rivera in the 97 to his outside, Hunter Parson in the 05. Row 7, Michael McKinnon, and on his outside, Derek Mullins in the number 12. Jeffrey Sickles in the 22 starts inside row 8. 16th starting spot for Keith Bradley in the number 29. Tyler Dittmer, he's in the 34, starts inside row 9. Outside is Raul Meza in the 93. 10th row is Justin Pitts in the 27, and Jacob Klinkart in the number 5 will start in the 20th position.
Row number 11 is going to be finding that of Stephen Gregory in the 61, with that of Justin Limpkin going to be the 87, with row number 12 going to be finding that of Joey Doucette in the 16, and Stephen Thomas in the 23. Row number 13, we find that of Dale Adamson, and as well as that of Austin McKinnon in the 8 machine. 14 is going to be that of Eric Zimmerman, and also that of Dan Shepard. And then in row number 15, we find that of Zach Hardwick, as well as Christopher Blanchard.
Logan Quinn in the 44 starts inside row 16. Jabe Morris in the 47 starts in the 32nd position. Cody Knott, Matt Rudder make up row 17. Row 18, Ed Osborne, and on the outside, Derek Kilgore in the 11. Row 19, Torrey Thompson. Brendan Bullock in the 17 in the 38th starting spot. Dane Hagan in the 39 starts inside row 20, and Curtis Hedden in the 95 starts in the 40th position. Shotgun on the field is Clint Mata in the number 7 as the field rolls through behind the pace truck. Going to pull off. We're going to turn it over to Wade to kick it off for the action here. Man, I am so excited to see this get started. Green flag just about to go in the air.
Pace truck is off. The trucks are ready to go. And green flag is now out. It's going to be Ted Wade and Painter that get the delayed starts before on the outside, on the inside. Watch him go. It's going to be Taylor Peacock getting the great launch, but it's out of turn number 2 where we got to be watching now. Will we see chaos or will the driver survive?
So far, so good as they roll down into turn 3, trying to get single file. A lot of these drivers will hunt the bottom right now, wait for those tires to come up to temperature. Green and green as we complete lap number 1. It's going to be Wade, and just as soon as I say that, we're going to have yellow on the speedway.
Quick yellow right when we were going to the start of lap number 2. And it's that 27, Justin Pitts, gonna be absolutely riddled as we take our first look at our Pulse Poppers instant replay. See the 27, what's gonna happen in front of you? Wave in an ocean of trucks in front of him, diving it down low, and oh boy, you can see that type of contact. And also just gets whiplash in turn 4 sign, and the aggression level, and you hate to see that when drivers are that close to one another. Wasn't contact officially, but the 27 sees his day come up to an end in an instant, just in lap number 1.
Yeah, that's got to be frustrating. You come out here and you want to put in the laps early in the season, get a good showing, and end up against the concrete wall here at Dover. But we're under green as Wade is going to pace the field. And you have to wonder at this point, what do they think of their truck? You know that they've made at least one impression of that lap that they ran at speed.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, might be getting the thought of, did I push it too hard on that first lap? Do I want to save my tires? I think that's going to be something we talk about a lot here, Kevin, is tires. It's concrete surface. I mean, this surface is going to tear up these tires as much as they can, and that's why the drivers have 4 sets to work with in pit road. A couple of drivers did come into pit road to get some service done. The 27, of course, had to take a tow into pit road, still getting service and repairs done. Most likely going to be in there for a while. We also have the 46 of Dale Adamson that came in and got repairs and a little bit of service for the 46. Surprising to see, but those are the only two drivers that came in.
You see these drivers rolling around here at 55 miles an hour, and that means any driver that has damage does have a smidge of time to let the crew get to work, banging out the panels, trying to get things straightened out. It is a challenging racetrack to run with damage, especially if you get something happening to the front end of the spoiler here. But we'll see how this plays out. One of the things, Sam, that I know about this racetrack is drivers are always really trying to look ahead. When you come off the corner, it narrows up to a chute, and if somebody gets in trouble and it blocks the racetrack, you got a lot of trucks coming too fast to slow down, and everybody piles in. So you have to believe that a lot of these drivers are up on the wheel right now early on, just looking for trouble because they don't want their night to end prematurely.
No, they definitely do not want that. And Kevin, like another thing, with that narrowing field that these drivers are dealing with, I mean, that transition from the banked corner to the lessly banked straightaways, I think that's also another unique thing about this track is it feels like there is always banking at every single point you're at this racetrack.
Yeah, turns 1 and 2, 24 degrees of banking, and it goes to 9 degrees on the front straightaway. So you're always kind of at a slant. And, they talk about the dynamic here, and it does feel that way. When you come down into the corner and drive to the bottom of the racetrack, it feels like you're driving downhill. And then the truck really compresses coming up off the corner, and it makes the truck tight. The truck does not want to turn. And a lot of times when you see these drivers, I've sat in the stands in turn 4 at Dover, and they come off the corner completely sideways. They call that in the slip. The truck is sideways sliding up to the fence, and it eventually just squares up on the front straightaway, and then the forward bite lets the truck launch. But it's such a game to try and slide the truck up and get right up next to the wall to carry all the speed off. And these drivers do it masterfully. It is a handful, though, sometimes. As we saw in practice, a lot of drivers testing that limit of how hard to come up off that corner.
They are always on the edge, and they're going to try to keep that edge as much as they can. As here tonight, drivers are ready to attack. Again, top 5 going to be that of Ted Wade, Taylor Peacock, Devin Painter, as well as Adam Newberg, and also Chris Cinnamon going to be your top 5 getting ready to go here. Pace truck lights are off, making the hard left-hander off the racing surface. And now the lead is in the hands of the 2 of Ted Wade that waits for the green flag. And just when he finally feels like the truck is solid, the 2's already on the lock pedal. And with already a 2.5 lead going into turn number 1, Kevin, that's exactly what you want to see from the 2. But watch out, it's side-by-side racing back there for 3rd.
Yeah, he just came through the gears absolutely perfect and drove off. And, when you're sitting in second, you want to be careful not to jump the start. But sometimes you're a little too conservative. Cinnamon holding that bottom line in the 3 right underneath Newberg, trying to tussle that out. I suspect you get a little uncomfortable running side by side, and I would anticipate one or the other will figure out at some point which one is going to try and give that position. The other one will yield.
Got to be careful, especially on the exit of the corners. That's when it's the most dangerous. You see the 4 going to be taking that 4th place position over Chris Cinnamon. And behind them, our champion from last season, season number 3 champion, you see the 9. It's that of Brady LeBuff, who's now moving up slowly, only up 1 position for himself. But really, in these early couple of laps, you can get aggressive. I mean, Kevin, these drivers, they only have just a couple of laps really to worry about, because only on lap 25 will stage 1 come to a conclusion.
And I'm sure that some of these drivers that are sitting back there around 15th, 14th know that they need to get themselves up there. A good run for Mullins, who's right behind the truck we were showing on the screen. He's up 6 positions. He was right in that spot where the 27 had his problem. And see Bradley and a couple others looking to get the position, but right now you see the pressure being applied by the 48 of Richard right to the back bumper of Mullins, just looking to see if he can find a line. And you have to stay tight to the truck in front of you. If they get a slip, it's the only way that you can get a nose underneath them and try and execute that pass.
Wreck happening in the middle of the corner, and more drivers piling in. Issue through the corner. You see the 8 involved. That's Austin McKinnon. Also, it looks like a couple of other drivers mixed in. We already have our 2nd Pulse Poppers instant replay. Looking for that of Fly Fishing Lures. Pulse Poppers, way to go. The late block there into the corner, and 88 Hardwick as well as McKinnon making the contact between one another. The 88 is going to be one to watch out for after the incident. The initial contact is right on board with the 8 of Austin McKinnon. Zach Hartwig just lets that car drift, and more drivers were involved with wreck afterwards. So this is coming into the corner, and Kevin, here's the ride along of the 8, just a lazy walk from the 88 and collecting both drivers.
Yeah, just that awareness. You get to that left rear quarter panel of the truck, and maybe the driver didn't know you were there. You are in that blind spot, and unfortunately, both drivers going for the same real estate with catastrophic results.
First official DNF of the night going to be that of Austin McKinnon, who is out of the session and was audibly very frustrated with the incident that happened. I think a lot of drivers recognizing, hey, we're early. We're not even in the first basically 8 laps. The first 15 laps of this race, you've got to stay patient. There's a lot of racing still to happen, as we're not even done with stage 1 of tonight's race. Ted Wade, though, Peacock, Painter, Newberg, Cinnamon, LaBeouf, they're all loving the fact that, they're up front. But I think they would want to stay green, so they've got an opportunity to move up any positions they want. And Kevin, this now kind of cuts this whole entire stage 1 in half. We're not having a lot of green flag racing. We're in more pacing laps than green flag racings for this first stage.
Yeah, and on the green flag, we did not know how this race would play out, where we're going to get long runs, where we're going to have short little jaunts like this, or something in between. And, these drivers they got their notebook out. They're the driver, the crew chief, and the strategy player here. And, sometimes these breaks allow them to think, well, how's this race going to go, or develop an impression of that. And, yeah, you just don't know. I think a lot of them take the time, at least I know when I'm out there, to evaluate how hard I ran. How did the truck feel? Was I getting through the corner? Was I gaining on the truck in front of me? Was I holding the truck up behind me? You do all those assessments during caution. You're doing 8,000 calculations a minute.
Constantly thinking of what the next strategy is going to be. And I was watching pit road. A couple of drivers did come in trying to top up with fuel and also just get repairs done. Clint Motto came in, got some repairs done for the 7 machine. That of Christopher Blanchard also came in, topped up with fuel for the 19 machine, who's going to be able to back in 36th position. And as well, getting huge damage repairs is the 88 of Zach Hartwick, and as well that of Torrey Thompson, who was a late involvement in that wreck, getting into the 88. So drivers are in pit road getting some major damages. As we're right on board with the 2. Ted Wade getting the most raciest action. I'm getting right on the back bumper of the pace truck here. Kevin, early for these drivers, but with these early cautions, I gotta say, this must be a little frustrating for them on the fact that they haven't been able to get a lot of green flag racing early on.
Yeah, I think, though, at this point, certainly Wade's had it easy. He's got clean racetrack. He can pick and choose his lines. He's probably taking care of his truck. But everybody else, by 10 laps or so, you start to get that rhythm, that groove. You start to feel the racetrack out. One of the key things you're trying to figure out with the track temperature is when you drive it down in the corner, is the truck going to hook the corner and stay there, or is it going to slide up a little bit, and do you need to ease out and get it straightened out so that you can drive off the corner? They know that right now. They've run enough laps, and I don't know, some drivers are having a good time here tonight, and others are trying to figure out where they're struggling and how to correct it. That's another play here when the caution comes out.
How much information are you truly going to get from this first stage to give over to that second? Second stage is only going to be, once we go green from that moment, going to be about, I think, 20 laps for those drivers once we get green. So for everyone else here, they're hoping that this first stage can get a little bit more green, get more information, because it's going to be very important as the pace truck pulls off. We'll be right on board with the 2. Ted Wade got Taylor Peacock to his right side and already on the loud pedal and gunning it. Green flags in the air for race number 2 here at NASRA for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series.
And again, he just shot out of there like a rocket, pulled 2 or 3 truck lengths by the time he got to turn 2. Is side-by-side battle here up off the corner. A big sweep from the 64 of Painter. He's down underneath the 4 of Newbert. They're giving themselves a lot of room here. Newbert going to carry the momentum out here to turn 3 and 4 out to the front straightaway. Man, they closed up really close, and I think he had to ease out to keep from hitting the wall. 64 is going to get that position.
I think the 4 might have just brushed it just slightly, if anything, and that gives the momentum down to Devin Painter, who's going to be a little bit worried because here comes the 4. Now no longer stuck on the outside, going to be able to get a good run. And this is the battling for 3rd place, right on the back bumper of Devin Painter. And you can just see the run from the 4. Hubert not going to be able to really try anything currently. And I think for a lot of these drivers, it's stay patient because our front runners, they are pulling away single file for now. And this is where things kind of get to settle out for a little bit. If you weren't super aggressive on those first 2 restarts, you now can start to get aggressive at this moment, as a couple of drivers in that 8th to 11th place did brush the wall just a little bit there, and that's going to be the scariest moment for a lot of these drivers. They've got a lap machine, got to be careful, slowing down, very slow in the way. That's going to be Harwick into the wall and causing issues for the rest of the field.
Yeah, so frustrating when you're that fast, and we're going to draw a yellow third one of the night here.
And you saw it there. The 88 blew up. It did not wait for the field to pass by, just dropped down and absolutely destroyed Kilgore. Here's your pulse pop resistance replay. And you see the 88 backstretch. The engine blew up. And from here on out, he was coasting, and the 88 should have just stayed up, if anything. The caution was thrown, didn't make any big moves, and he just drops down here without any regard to the rest of the field.
Well, I'm glad this is virtual. That hit to the end of the pit wall was just astonishing, and to your point, yeah, he should have probably stayed up, but it's feeding time at the zoo. Good number of drivers heading to pit road. I suspect they're going to change 4 tires.
Yeah, now everyone's going to be coming into pit road, getting some service done, and with the timing of this, could be a stage break based on everyone coming into pit road. But Devin Painter's going to be staying out, while the rest of the field did not follow the 64. Kevin, this is when you love the strategy for some, and you are nervous for others. As we've got about 3 drivers that decided not to come into pit road. As you see the race pit road coming off. Going to be actually Ted Wade, just taking fuel, not tires. That's going to put the 2 ahead of everyone else, but leading the drivers that took tires, going to be Taylor Peacock back in 6th.
Yeah, I think back last week to Watkins Glen, where some of those drivers at the end of the stage pulled in just before it was over and then cycled themselves up. I don't know that that's an opportunity here, but certainly fuel can play into the strategy here at Dover, so I'm not surprised to see drivers ducking down. You know, if they see Wade go in and they see 2nd, 3rd, 4th follow, then the rest of the field's probably going to follow through. But yeah, it's, you know, you just mentioned some of these guys did not take tires, so these 3 drivers that stayed out, are they going to put themselves in a good position to pick up some stage points? Great job for Painter and Edmondson if this works out for them.
Yeah, Painter did not come into pit road. Dale Adamson did come into pit road, but that was 19 laps ago. Took fuel and tires. I believe that was for our first caution of the day when the 46 did that. The rest of the field for Ted Wade decided to just take fuel only. Then you had Peter, you had that at Peacock and Newbert. Both of them took 4 tires. Then in 6th place, you got Hunter Parsons, who went with 2 tires only for the 05. So we'll see how well Hunter Parsons can work with just taking 2 tires. That's a very odd and different strategy. But Kevin, I think this is the best time to try a different strategy with the fact that everyone else is on something different as well.
That's what's great about this racetrack. Everybody's thinking about different things, and you know that sometimes you can outthink yourself, but we are going to see differing strategies, and it always comes down to an interesting mix at the end. I was looking at the 3 of Chris Cinnamon and a couple other trucks as they went by us here from the scoring booth. Little dings, little dents on those trucks here and there. Some of them maybe have tapped the wall. The Cinnamon truck, the right rear is tapped in just a little bit as it goes by us here. You know, but for the most part, except for the couple incidents we've had, it's been a fairly clean race for these guys.
As we're going to take a look at the weather here and how much changed as it is cooling off the track temp. The drivers aren't really roaring around here at full song, so the track's being able to cool off. Ambient temperature 75 degrees, winds starting to slow down. And with it mostly being partly cloudy, these drivers, you know, periodically cloud cover is going to happen. But Kevin, I've got to say, the track temp is probably the biggest surprise for us up at the booth and most likely for the drivers.
Yeah, and you know, the drivers, they do keep an eye on that. But once they get into the truck, they're just going to drive by the seat of their pants feel of this. And, you know, now this is going to be rather fascinating. We led the first 20 laps. Now we got Painter out front for the restart here. When the truck pulls in, we'll see how he does calling the shot from the point here as the pace truck turns left and gets ready to turn the field over. With those worn tires, got to be careful here at Dover that you don't spin when you stomp on the gas.
Drivers are ready, painters on the loud pedal, and we are green once again for the Dover 150, and it's going to be the 64. Devin Painter, again, on the old tires. Same set of tires he's been on since the start of the race. The rest of the field, some of them took tires, some of them didn't, but Peacock going to be aggressive on the inside, trying to get by that of Adamson. The 81 going to be on the freshest of tires currently, as Ted Wade just went with fuel only, but trying to get aggressive and get back out front as soon as possible.
Peacock able to clear Adamson. He's going to pick up that third position. Parsons back there in the 0-5 and fourth. He's going to slip underneath.
Oh, and it's a pile up now on the entry of corner number 1. It started with just a little bit of a bump coming out of turn number 4, and it just blew up from there. More drivers involved with this thing, and this will be concluding stage number 1. As here's our Pulse Poppers instant replay. Taking a look at some of the drivers in the middle of the pack, trying to get by, and right there, you saw the contact. 48 gets spun around, and everyone else chain reacts from that moment on.
Last week's winner got a big hit, the number 59 there, Blake Lethine. That started right in front of him. It just looks like Richards lost the pedal there. The right rear stepped out, and we were just talking about the damage to his spoiler in the back of that truck in the number 48.
I mean, got loose, touched the apron, and then everyone else just nowhere else to go for themselves. And it was our winner from last week, Blake Lothan, that's going to be the driver that was involved in this one heavy.
And we'll just have to keep an eye on that truck, but it's smoking very badly, pretty significant damage. I don't believe that they'll be able to fix it and make it competitive. And, you know, from a win to troubles here at Dover, that's not the way he wanted to carry that momentum, but at least to the point where we opened and talked about he's got to win in the bank. He's going to be there for the championship. He can afford to have a bad race here, but they all want to get good results every week.
Trying to get every result possible, but this is massive for the drivers that were out front, tried a different strategy. Devin Painter, Ted Wade, that of Taylor Peacock, Connor Parsons, Adam Newbert, as well as that of Brady LaBeouf, Chris Cinnamon, Daniel Belder, as well as Keith Bradley and Derek Mullins. Going to be our top 10 drivers, going to be getting those stage points. With the timing of this yellow, those drivers will get the points.
A collective breather. Everybody knows that this stage is coming. They are going to do that assessment of what happened here. And for Painter, it's job well done. Got himself the track position he needed, got himself out, collected the most points. For Wade, he continues to demonstrate that he's going to be one of the stronger trucks in the season. Somebody to watch as the lucky dog makes his way around. And, 4 cautions in that first stage. We were having discussion before we came on air. What kind of complexion would this race have? And right now it's been fits and starts. But, you know, sometimes that straightens itself out. It could physically run green all the way to the finish from here. You just never know how it's going to work.
Yeah, and that consistency is really what a lot of the drivers are looking for, and that potential is always there. Dover is one of those more interesting, I mean, that's just short track, it seems like, in general, where they always has that potential of staying green for a long stage. And with the amount of yellows we have, the more drivers that get taken out, the more opportunities of drivers getting split up and get these races going longer. So I would not be surprised at that either. But Kevin, I was looking at some of the drivers, looking at the stats. We've only ran 2 races this season, coming into the race number 3 here at Dover for that of the A's Lawns and Landscaping 150 here tonight. Gotta say, I thought we were going to be seeing some of our other drivers that have been the most consistent. And I would say most consistent driver has been that of Stephen Thomas. Thomas now finds himself back in 33rd position in pit road, getting heavy damage done. 23 might not be getting his 3rd race, 3rd top 5, and 3rd top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, and Thomas so far this season's collected 31 bonus points, which means he's run up front through all of it, but we have not called his name all night long. I don't believe he has that much to worry about. He came in with 114 points, sitting in 3rd because Lethien and Bodler have wins, but he had 16-point markers over Hunter Parson, who is having a good night here tonight. But there's still time for Thomas to recover. We'll see how he can do, and he'll have to get up on the wheel. I was going to say, looking at the schedule here, what a fascinating choice. They've done a spectacular job picking the races from Atlanta to Watkins Glen to Dover a mile, now back out to the big sweeping auto club, back to the short track of North Wilkesboro the following week. On the 25th of February, we go to the super amazing, massive iRacing super speedway, and it just keeps going back and forth, and that gets to showcase different drivers. So I'm not surprised to see some names that we have not called all season, but I got a call sitting in that 8th position, or in the 8th position. The 6 is lurking back there.
Yeah, that of Daniel Belder, who was our Atlanta winner. He's going to be back there, just looming and waiting at 7th. But for the drivers up front, it is green. It's going to be Devin Painter, Ted Wade, side by side. The two's going to be trying to get aggressive as drivers on pit road finally get moving. But it's Ted Wade, a great move on the outside, power in his way. But here comes the 81. It's not a Taylor Peacock going for 2nd place. Pressure tires. 81, and also Hunter Parsons, he took 2 tires for the 05. It's about to see a lot of shifting, and drivers got to be careful with that outside wall on the exit.
And that just goes to show us that while the bottom is the predominant lane, Wade showed that there is an outside lane here. You could make it work, because it was a drag race into turn number 2, but he was able to come back to the point again, takes over, and now, as I look through the field, everybody's kind of strung out single file. That leads to the racing where you stop trying to race the truck in front of you. You race the racetrack and just try to put in good lap times. As we see the 17 come low, going to run side by side out of turn number 2, climbs the banking, gets that position to the backstretch. He hasn't quite cleared and moved up, but now he's got the call from the spotter, and he's going to take over the position. Nice run there for Bullock to take that
spot. And as
spot.
we're watching that change for the lead, Taylor Peacock at the 81 was able to pass him out of 10 Wade with ease with those fresher tires. Next driver with 4 fresh tires is going to be that of Adam Newbert, back in 4th place. The 4, he's just been looming and waiting for himself to pounce. And then you've also got that of the 05, who started to feed back those 2 tires. They worked well for 2 laps, but they aren't working so hot now, as our front 4 all within a half a second of one another.
And you have to wonder if some of these drivers are thinking, well, there's been a bunch of cautions, maybe I'll just leave those tires in the pits. I'll suffer a little bit, but later when the goodie on the tire is going to make a difference, and I can have a run like Peacock is having right now, possibly it will switch the tide for them. We see the 4 working really hard. Newbert trying to get that position is, and what a speed shot we see as the 4 comes up off the corner, going to get right to the back bumper, look low, signal he wants a position. Boy, that's a tough pass going into the corner.
Extremely tough, but luckily has the grip to do so, but out of the corner, got to give each other just enough space, which now gives opportunity. Here comes Hunter Parsons to the inside, diving it underneath that of Painter. These drivers, they're seeing the laps tick away for the audience. Again, stage 2 ends at the end of lap 50. So these drivers got to get aggressive. A little bit of a door bang on the entry of turn 3. And just like that, you see the rookie right now of Parsons making the pass. But here comes our season 3 champ, the 9 of LaBeouf, thinking about where to place himself.
Yeah, for Painter, he's just trying to stem the bleeding. One of the things he's got to be careful is when someone gets underneath him, if they are going to get by, he doesn't want to give up a lot of track position. And the truck that slides underneath and goes past, he wants to be able to get down in that hole. Right now, he's just trying to make that truck really wide and keep LaBeouf at. But LaBeouf, boy, he's right to that back bumper. He's going to signal the pass, go down underneath. We'll see if he gets a position. As they're now nose to tail, and several of them running right under a blanket.
There's the 6 of Daniel, our Atlanta Race 1 winner. Came a little bit of controversy after initial contact, but there goes Devin Painter to the outside. Got to be careful with the 64, as everyone that's in this train, they're going to be following suit, trying to get by. As also you see lap traffic below, but Cinnamon makes contact with that of Painter. Painter holds on and almost got shoved to the outside wall. Devin, I gotta say, for Devin Painter, he is being bullied right now, being moved all over the place.
Yeah, sound the horn. You know that every one of those drivers sitting back there running nose to tail because they see like a, shark in the water. If the 64 goes high and they can stay tight to the bumper, there's no way for him to get back in. Now here, he's able to slide down in front and take that position. And he's going to stem that. This Clinkhart's going to give him in. And here comes Balder to the bottom. He's going to go down underneath Mullins and take over that position. I tell you, some of these guys, they realize the laps are ticking away, and they're getting pretty comfortable. 40 laps in the books. They know what they've got right now underneath them.
And right now, he's out of the 4. And we're able to make the move up to 3rd currently. Sees Ted Wade in front of him. Opportunity still lies. Again, Ted Wade's on those older tires. When Newberg gets closer to the wall, here comes out of Hunter Parks to the inside. The 0-5 is an opportunity, and now going to strike immediately. With 10 laps to go here in stage number 2, these drivers are seeing that they need to take off now if they want any opportunity to gain more points. As, oh boy, they're getting aggressive. LaBeouf gets a little bit of move to the high line by the 6.
Yeah, Parsons went up to take the arrow off the back of the 4, just kind of side draft and then turned the truck down into turn 3, was able to drive around the 4 of Newberg. Now LaBeouf looking to do the same thing, comes up off the corner. Can he get to that quarter panel? He loses it. Sideways into the wall. He's going to gather it up, slap that left rear quarter panel. The whole back TV panel on that truck is destroyed, but that could have been a huge catastrophic problem there.
Just one small little bump from the 6. Wasn't on purpose. They were just so squeezed up and get out of the way. There goes Newberg now losing 2 positions, seeing himself moving up front, now dropping back quickly. Just showing if you get too aggressive too early on, this concrete tears up those tires and they will fall away in an instant. Our Atlanta winner, great job moving now up to 4th there. That of Derek Mullins now up to 5th. Great jobs for themselves. Then you see the 4 Newberg's falling back. But a driver I got to give big credits for, that of the 34 Tyler Dimmer. He's done a great job now up to 7th. One of our most consistent drivers this season. As he's the 2nd driver, and the only other driver besides Stephen Thomas to have 2 top 10s this season.
Yeah, he should be playing in Las Vegas. 2 7th-place finishes so far, and I'll tell you what, he's come up 10 positions from a 17th starting spot, just slides underneath to take over that 6th position. Didmer in the 7 having a great job, and this is the time. This is the time you've got to go to work. This stage of the race, you need to get up to the front if you got a truck to do it. Get yourself in position, because once everybody gets tires for that last run, you're kind of even. You're not going to drive through the field unless the complexion of the race allows that for you, as we see a tight battle here. The 12 looking to see if he can come in. Mullins working on Parson. This has just been a scrap for lap after lap right here in this section of the race.
These are the drivers that have been really attacking one another, and really give big credit to all of our front runners in the way that they've been slashing, dashing back and forth and making some aggressive moves. But it seems like you make a move, you feel good about it, and 3 laps later, you got to be careful because those drivers are right back on your tailpipes. As you look at our ticker, we're seeing it. We're on lap 47, and we've got ourselves 4 more laps to go, coming to 3 laps to go here. And the stage in the yellow flag's going to wave here, and this is going to end the stage 2 on where the drivers lie.
How about that? That's not expected for Peacock. I guess he could just coast around now, though he had a commanding lead. He was going to win the stage, and Ted Wade mission accomplished in the 2 as we look to see where the caution is. Field catches the pace truck over there in turn 3.
The drivers are trying to catch up. We will get the replay at some point, hopefully, but if not, I believe the incident was for the 33 of Matt Rodder, who found himself having issues. As we see now, everyone coming into pit road, and with no surprise here, Kevin, I think everyone's going to come in. There's going to be no games played for the end of this stage.
Yeah, 4 tires and fuel will be the playbook here, as these drivers, they need to get in. It's a relatively clean pit road, but it's narrow. Not a lot of space. It's only 15 foot wide. The pit box size that you're getting in, 32 foot long. And you know, you got to get in your box clean, get stopped, and then look in their rearview mirror as you pull up and make sure nobody's going to come in, as these drivers are going to go in for 4 tires and fuel. Wade hits his box, and Yeah, you can see changing tires. It's busy down there on pit road right now.
Going to be that of Taylor Peacock again, who won stage number 2. Is going to come out of this one. We have our stage 1 and stage 2 winners. It's going to be 1-2 at the start of this, and also have the 6th, our Atlanta winner for race number 1 this season. Daniel Butler's going to be in 3rd, Derek Mullins in 4th, Hunter Parsons in 5th, without a Michael McKinnon, who is going to be dropping back after he still needs to come into pit road after being the lucky dog spot for the 13. 6th place going to be that of Tyler Dittmer, as well as 7th going to be Adam Newberg, with Keith Bradley in 8th, with Justin Lumpkin in 9th, and that of Brandon Bullock going to be in 11th once these drivers get cycled through. I believe they're actually, we're going to see Lumpkin and Bullock move up to 9th and 10th as McKinnon goes into pit road. That's your top 10 and where they lie. Well, Kevin, we got to see 1/3 of the race so far, and what are some of your thoughts so far through stage 1 and 2?
Yeah, I just have to say how impressed I am with that 2 truck on those restarts. I don't know if he's starting in a different gear from everybody else, but it has played huge dividends for him. And we've seen a couple drivers show a little bit of prowess the first 2 races to signify to this group that they're going to be, contenders in this. And, well, they're there. Except for the problems we talked about earlier for the 23 truck of Stephen Thomas. Everybody else that's had strong seasons so far, talking about Parsons, talking about Bodler, they've had a good run here. Lothian, well, unfortunately for him, his truck is damaged, but I think these guys, they have to figure out how that too is so fast tonight.
And just a quick update on drivers that are further back. Again, we started with 41 drivers. We've had quite a drop-off since then. Some of the most recent drivers that were calling it a night, Kyle Hess, who is in 33rd position, might be losing some spots with more drivers able to get moving. Still in pit road is that of Blake Logan in 36th position, with Raul Meza, Derek Kilgore, Zach Hartwick, as well as Austin McKinnon and Justin Pitts. All of those drivers have parked it. They are done for the night, it looks like, as Steve Thomas is back in a pit road trying to repair that 23. The rest of the field, they're getting stacked up and ready to go. Going to be Peacock, Wade, Boulder, as well as seeing that of Mullins, Parsons, Dittmer, Newbert, Bradley, Lumpkin, and a Bullock. Going to be your top 10 getting ready to go here as we got 100 laps to go. Going to be 99 once we hit the green. Kevin, we got these drivers on the back stretch. What are you expecting? There's no more stages. We race to the end from here on out. What are some things that you're expecting?
I'm expecting to see some new players in the game. In fact, if you look back there at 8th, 9th, 10th, you just talked about it. Bradley, Lumpkin, Bullock, they've not been up in the call. This is the time of race where they've driven their way up into contention, and this is just going to be cool. The closer you get to the finish, the more these guys are going to amp up that energy, and we're going to see a spectacular race here.
Pace truck is off, and we are green. It's Taylor Peacock going to be in that 10 Wade, going to be already on the lap pedal side by side into turn number 1. It's still the 2 holds on for now, but it's going to be Peacock as we take a look from the top view. We're getting to see a great restart there, but it's Ted Wade trying to do a crossover move. Not able to get to the quarter panel, but don't look now. Here comes 3rd and 4th place. It's going to be Mulder as well as Mullins. They're going to be coming with that as steam as Peacock runs high. Here comes Ted Wade on the back bumper.
Peacock, as soon as the pace truck hit the gray area of the pavement, just hammered down and drove off. Everybody was anticipating that kind of start, and this top group, they took off pretty quickly. Wade is just putting on a tremendous amount of pressure. I think they understand how important it is to be out front, get clean air, have the truck turn. It takes care of the tires. Wade wants to lead this thing.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit more on that dirty air, because that is something these drivers, and for the audience, they might not understand what you mean by dirty air. What is going on with these drivers? It might be the big issue for them.
When you're driving in the slipstream of the truck in front of you, the air coming off buffets the front of the truck. We saw it in some of the speedway races where it physically moves the truck around. If you can get the truck out into the clean air in front, just as we see, puts all the pressure on the nose, that puts a lot of traction in those front tires and helps the truck turn. And Steve Wade, mission accomplished. He was able to use that low line to his advantage. And now you can see when he turns the truck down, he's getting all the pressure pushing down on that front hood, and that truck's going to rotate really well for him.
Right now, some drivers having some internet issues, and you see that on our ticker. It's the 6 that is causing a lot of issues, and admin's not sure where the 6 is actually on track, and so it's actually going to be throwing a yellow to either remove or tell the 6 to get off of the racing surface, because he is being a hazard to the rest of the field.
Yeah, such an unfortunate situation because he was right there in that top 5. And, we were talking about this before we came on air. In the United States tonight, there are storm patterns all over the place. We're talking to our producer down there in Texas, where he's in the single digits this week. And, we have ice storms going on here in New Jersey. And it's just one of those nights where we were wondering if some of the drivers would have gremlins in their connections. And unfortunately for right now, it looks like it has been Daniel Butler could potentially be the reason he's having some connection issues.
Yeah, this was an admin thrown yellow, so there was no replay for an incident that happened. The admins decided it was unsafe for the drivers to continue. They thought that there was going to be a bigger wreck, so they are throwing this to make sure that they can get either the 6 internets under control before we get back to racing, or they just kick them out. That's really where we're at the moment. So drivers got to be careful for themselves, as right now, I mean, Kevin, when you're seeing a driver have internet issues around you, it kind of is one of the more terrifying moments, because you never know where the driver is, and with that unknown for us and also for the drivers, could cause damage for your vehicle, or just even a bigger wreck for the rest of the field.
Yeah, for the most part, if you're driving and a truck or a car disappears in front of you, one of the things you don't do is panic. Just hold your line, run your race, ease out a little bit, back up to the truck behind you, and leave space. And, sometimes that connection clears itself up, the driver reappears, and everything goes on. We saw the 12 there of Derek Mullins having some challenges too. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes connection issues happen, but from an iRacing service standpoint, I have to say I'm amazed. I'm returning to sim racing after many years of layoff, and the connection and the service is just outstanding. Such an improvement over days of old. And every once in a while, again, massive storms all over the United States tonight, so we saw some other leagues actually canceled their event because drivers were unavailable, and NASRA decided to come through and put this in. And we've had 50 plus laps of decent racing, and good call for them. You see the 6 right now on your screen. He's back, looks stable, and perhaps that'll work itself out when we go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Just wanted to make sure that everyone was in a state where no one else was going to see their race get influenced by this issue. And so now, like you noted on there, Kevin, it looks like the 6 is cleared up. He's stable. We now see him on track. And we hope for that to continue. And for everyone else that might be dealing with the storms that are going on, thoughts are going to you guys to hope that your power stays going. And for these drivers, we're hoping for the same. As tonight, we're ready to get back to racing action as we're getting up to lap 60 for these drivers. We saw going by, that was the 33 of Matt Rudder, who actually got the lucky dog pass for this yellow coming out. So we are now back to 31 drivers on the lead lap, while the rest of the drivers most of them are still trying to get repairs done, as Lowe's still in pit road, but we have a couple of other drivers that are lingering and waiting to get themselves prepared and ready to go. But up front, Ted Wade, Sailor Peacock, that of Daniel Perkin, as well as others getting ready to go. Racing up front with Mullins and Dittmer, going to be your top 5, ready to get this next D3 start. Hey, Kevin, we got to see the tractors cool off these tires. Who knows who might be the next aggressive one that could potentially either make a big move for the lead or bring out the next big wreck.
Yeah, so impressed with Taylor Peacock. He has not yielded at all here, just doing whatever he can, throwing it at Wade, and I suspect if he can find just a little more something in the tank, he's going to be a significant challenge to get the win here tonight. But, as we said, there's drivers out in the back that are hungry. They'd like to get that win, lock themselves into the championship, and, well, they got a couple laps to still get the job done here. Pace track off. Wade's going to bring him back to green. Hammers down, and he heads off to the start-finish line. Wade, again, spectacular jump. Probably 8 car lengths out at this point.
I mean, it was massive for himself, and because of the greater launch, he made that inside lane be able to take off at the 6, able to really capitalize on that. The caution was to allow the 6 get his internet figured out, so Grayson, well, he's back on track and up to second place. But it's the battle for third that we see here on screen. Peacock, Mullins, they're right on top of one another.
These drivers right now, they don't want to run side by side. They're going to lose the track position, so they're going to tuck in to the driver next to them. They have the opportunity to make a pass. They're certainly not going to squander it, but right now they're just looking to see if they can get themselves settled in. And we had talked about no more stage breaks, so these drivers do have to take care of their tires. If it runs green for a long stretch, they do not want to be caught in a place where they're going to slip slide back, as we see the 12 and the 81. The beauty of Dover, different lines through turn 1 and 2, both to even up on back straightaway.
Yeah, most of the time, if you're going down low, you're going to have to get on the brakes just slightly to make sure that you can carry speed on the inside, but you're kind of costing speed for yourself when you're going for that. But if you're on the outer groove, you can really send it in, more speed, but you're more wear and tear on the tires. So you got to pick and choose, find that balance. As right on the quarter panel is going to be the 12. Mullins on Peacock, trying to get by the 81, not able to do so just yet, but he finally found the entry into turn 3. Here comes Derek Mullins out of turn number 4. Can the 12 conquer this pass? No. Kevin, that outside line, ill strong on the exit.
It is so hard being the inside truck trying to make that pass and commit that. These drivers, when they roll down the back straightaway, come underneath that ally bridge. There's a couple bumps there. You usually try to split the bump. You go to the outside or to the bottom. 12 will drag the brake sometimes to get the truck slowed down so it'll turn. Then he gets a good run up off, and here he is, side by side again, and this time he's going to commit the pass.
And Peacock went over the radio saying, hey, just take it right on board with that. Derek Mullins, get a sense of what it's like to attack this course. And coming down on the inside, just riding so close to the brink of touching the apron, but yellow flag's gonna wave, caution out, and everyone off the gas pedal and slowing down.
And it was just heating up for a battle up front. Alder had chased down, Wade was right to the back, and the yellow is going to come out. We'll have to wait for the restart to get another shot of it as we have the field collect, and we'll go to the Poppers instant replay. Ooh.
Oh, and it's 2 lap down drivers having issues. You see that it's Steven Thomas, who we noted on had issues, was caught up in our second and third wreck of the night. We take a little bit further back. This is going to be Corey Thompson in front of him, 96. That's just been struggling to get off the exit of the corner, down on power. Steven Thomas has been in pit road, getting a lot of repairs done, just gets a better run here out of the corner, and I don't think he was expecting the 96 to get on the brakes coming out of the corner there.
Yeah, the 96 coming up out of turn 4 looked like he knew he was carrying too much speed, was going to hit the wall, stepped on the brakes, and again, everybody collects. One of the other things that you see happen quite often is one driver will just drive a little too hard, chase the truck, hope it's going to turn, slap the wall, and the other driver physically follows them in, and you just see them both pancake the wall. In that case, just wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately, for the 23 and the 96.
Well, as we are getting closer and closer to halfway, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more racing action here at Dover for that of the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150 at the Monster Mile.
An automobile purchase shouldn't be hard. The hardest part for the consumer in the whole process should be selecting the vehicle. We have the online credit application. We can bring the car to you to see it, to test drive it, to deliver it. We have all the tools in place, and we've had them in place for a long time. I just think now we've perfected it. It's become part of our culture. We've, kind of taken it to the next level. It is easy. And it should be easy, and it should be fun, and it shouldn't take a whole lot of time.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland on the set of the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV, but I also want to remind everybody that you can keep up with coverage of esports with the Northwest Cup and Truck Series, the American iRacing League, S&B Cup Series, and so much more on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. Of course, remember, you can watch it, and then you can listen to it on CRN, the community radio network, at wearecrn.com. Check us out when you can.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Welcome back to the NASRA Truck Series. As the truck circling the racetrack, caution number 7 at this time. Field is just taking a breather here as the laps are ticking down. 150 laps is the action, as Ed Wade has led a good majority of this race. Daniel Balder right there with him. Tyler Dittmer, Eric Mullins, Taylor Peacock make up your top 5.
For bringing us back. Yeah, I mean, our top 5, very similar to what the way they've been for most of this season, as the field is getting ready to go green once again. Deadweight's been our favorite right now, I gotta say here, Kevin, but I'm wondering how the 6 is going to retaliate. Is this going to be the furthest ahead he's been all race long? Then we've got our hard chargers that are really making some great moves. The 34, Tyler Dittmer, doing a great job. He's going to be on the outside, but Eric Mullins has been doing a moment for himself. Up 10 positions. Can he gain any more? Pace truck gets off, and it's time for us to go green. It's the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150 in the Monster Mile. We are green once again. It's all Ed Wade heading into turn number 1.
Diving into the backing turn number 1 and 2. Here they come up to the back straightaway one more time, and up to speed. Everybody through the gears, getting single file where they can, and a good run for that number 29. How about Bradley surfacing to the top 5? Little damage in the back of that truck. Quite a few of these trucks have a dings and dents, but that truck looks pretty racy right now, and he's right on the tailgate, applying significant amount of pressure to the 34 of Dittmer.
Yeah, that major damage for the 29 right in the dead center rear bumper of the 29 truck, but he's pressuring Dittmer. Dittmer has been doing all that he can. And great blocking, and now here comes Taylor Peacock to the inside, trying to challenge the 29. Not able to do so. Just showing how fast things can change here at Dover. The Monster Mile, Miles the Monster, has already chewed up a lot of drivers. Almost over half the field has been caught up in some type of issue or contact with the wall or another driver. And now it's all down to this. We're coming closer and closer to halfway. And we're seeing the drivers that have been up front doing well, but we're also seeing a resurgence of drivers that were not here previously. As Peacock's got to be careful. Here comes the 3 of Chris Cinnamon, both drivers that have lost 3 positions from where they qualified.
Yeah, great recovery for Cinnamon. He's right there in the mix and showing a lot of pace. And he's got Newbert right behind him. Newbert's been kind of quiet tonight in that 4. He typically is charging from what we've seen in the early season, just kind of quietly hanging there in that top 10, maybe saving a little something for the final run. And you know, we were watching earlier. Bradler got back to the Dittmer. I think when he went into turn 3, he just had some run he had to check up, and now he's running back down, putting the pressure on him, and that's caused Dittmer to get right back to the back bumper of Mullins, trying to make the pass. Those 3 right now on the horse.
Derek Mullins into that of the Ford 12 machine, and then you've also going to be seeing the 34 of Tyler Dittmer with the 29 And Keith Bradley going to be finishing up your top 10 on what these drivers are. They're doing well. Our leaders are starting to close in on one another. But what's interesting is you look at the ticker, you see the differences of where the drivers are at. There is a large difference of really, you see the top 7, they're close to one another, all within about a second and a half. Then there's almost over a half a second more between themselves and Adam Newberg. But the biggest gap is from like 17th to 18th. There was almost a full second and a half difference between them. But they've been able to clean things up, now starting to make their surges forward as you see this battling for 8th place Newberg, as well as that of Parsons. We got that of Newhart and Lumpkin, all side by side.
I love what Lumpkin did there. He went down the front straightaway and just dived to the bottom of the racetrack, signaling he wanted to make that pass. And unfortunately, Yellow's going to come out. He's not going to get the opportunity to do it as trouble over in turn number 1.
It's Pole Poppers himself. It's Cody Knott, who was expecting a lot better of a run. Had a great qualifying run that got scrubbed away. He was forced to run back here. And we'll see what brought him out. Oh, just contact between himself and the 33 and hard in the inside wall. And that contact, what blew up the 26's engine, and it's calling it a night for Cody Knott.
Well, that's got to be disheartening to run this far into the race and unfortunately have that contact to take him out. You see the truck smoking. He's going to go to pit road. Maybe they'll put a Band-Aid on it. Chances are his competitiveness for tonight is done. As leader heading to pit road, second going to follow him in. Balder jumps right up to that back bumper before they have to get down to that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. And it seems like, well, just about every single truck has come down here to pit road.
Yeah, and a lot of these drivers all are going to be using, potentially, if they take tires, are going to be using their 3rd set out of the 4 that they have in pit road. Ted Wade, though, on the other hand, has still, if he comes into pit road and takes his set, this is only going to be his 2nd set of the night. Those strategy calls for these drivers all going to be thrown out, and a couple of them, a handful of drivers deciding to stay out. Not just our leaders. I think that's the most surprising thing. There are actually 7 drivers that decided to stay out, but those that came to pit road, some are just taking tires, some are taking fuel, and coming out leading the charge going to be the 2 of Ted Wade, with Belder as well as Mullins, Dittmer, and Peacock going to be your 5 drivers beating out the rest of the field. Everyone else going with tires and also fuel for themselves. Not many other drivers going with the strategy of just fuel on this stuff.
This is going to be one of the restarts where I'm going to stand here and just hold my hands over my face and wonder what's going to happen. I don't know if I want to watch because, I love the strategy of Michael McKinnon. Stayed out. You get some more incidents that could occur with trucks being damaged, truck being off the pace, and you find yourself maybe at the end of the race with a fresh set of tires sitting there in the top 10. You could charge up and possibly get some. So if some of these drivers are thinking, well, I'm just going to leave a set in there right now, but wow, the dynamic that we're going to see is trucks with worn tires, with fast tires, with damage, with no damage. This is going to be a challenging restart to keep the field headed in the right direction.
They are going to be hoping for the best. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here. Friday night racing action on LSRTV. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is that of Kevin England, and also LSRTV Studios, giving you all the camera and graphics here tonight. As you are watching the North American Sim Racing Association, otherwise known as NASRA, for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, race number 3 here tonight for that of the A-Lawn and Landscaping 150 at the Monster Mile. The front is a group of drivers that decided not to come into pit road on this most recent yellow. It's going to be that of Michael McKinnon, Jose Luis Rivera, as well as Christopher Blanchard, Dana Hagen, as well as Jeffrey Sickles. And then you've also got Brandon Bullock. Those are your 6 drivers that have not come to pit road. Then you've got Ted Wade, that of Daniel Belder, as well as Derek Mullins and Tyler Dittmer, going to be the star drivers that started those that came into pit road. So it's going to be a fun one as well. Big thanks to all the amazing sponsors that help us at LSRTV, but most recently, it's that of the Majors Garage. If you're trying to get yourself setups, as you can see, for over 60 plus car setups available, as well as coaching from some of the best drivers out there to help you from anything from road course racing to ovals, they've got you covered at Majors Garage. Go sign up, go get ready, and the next round of the majors this Sunday. It's the Daytona 500. That's right, the Daytona 500 for the majors. It is going to be a blast to watch. Cannot wait for it, as all the drivers that have been preparing for the last 3 weeks, from Watkins Glen 2-hour event to now the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Catch it here on LSR TV for that of the American Sportsman's Lit 1 division that will be here. Cannot wait for it. And Kevin, for the drivers here tonight, we're past halfway. It's time to see who's going to be the winner for race number 3 for the Triple M Full-Length Truck Series. It's the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150, and we are going to be green with the drivers on older tires. We haven't seen how they're going to be up front. And now, it's hopefully you got your eyes open, Kevin, because it's chaos time. The drivers got fresh tires versus new.
I feel like that Michael Jackson meme where he's sitting there eating popcorn. What a good start for McKinnon. What a run he's got. I'm leaning forward and watching, and we thought we'd see single file on these restarts, but now it's time to go, and we're going to see double file all the way through back to about middle of the pack as these drivers are elbows up.
You got drivers with fresh tires, those on old, and it's going to be Ted Wade. He did not get a good launch. He was up in 7th and got pushed all the way back to 11th. Leading the drivers that got the freshest of tires is actually going to be the 6th of that of Daniel. Going to be Elders doing a great job, currently in 5th place, trying to get by the 39 of Hagan. And right now, Kevin, Hagan's got to be careful of the 17. The bullet gets over the outside wall. Going to be forcing it to almost 3 wide going into turn 1.
Alder, good run down on the bottom, just trying to clear the truck. He's going to come up, not able to do it. He's going to have a deep run into turn number 3. I think he's going to find the space now, and he's going to have a clear sail out of turn number 4. That'll allow him to see if he can track down the truck right in front of him. Yeah, he is on a mission right now. Alder is just flying with the fresh tire.
Alder kind of be coming with the freshest of tires now, up to 3rd, doing a great job moving forward. Then you've also, the next close is going to be that of Keith Bradley, up in 6th now to the 29. And both these drivers have had history of the 6th and the 29. So if they get close, we'll see how well they can attack. This is going to be that of Christopher Blanchard, who's going to be hoping to hold off. But at this point, get out of the way. Here comes the 29, moving forward with the fresher tires. Ditmer's going to be doing the same thing with the 34. And everyone's just slashing and dashing, trying to find any space to put these trucks that got the fresher tires to start moving forward.
And I just have to be amazed at the prowess of these drivers and the awareness they have with, you get a truck that peaks underneath you, you got to be careful on your turn in, you got to be careful on your exit. On the bottom, you don't want to slide up, as we see Wade just tiptoeing, taking his time coming through there. The 4 of Newbert is following him. That's a good strategy to do. The 3 of Cinnamon's right there following through with some of the slower trucks yielding that lower line. Big slip for the 17 of Bullock to the outside. He's able to gather it up, going to turn it down as we have a battle for the lead. I think Balder is going to sneak over, and yep, he's going to slide underneath out of turn number 4. Balder to the front for the first time tonight.
Big props to Jose Luis Rivera for holding on as long as he did, but those fresher tires finally caught up. They're now starting to move forward as the next driver that's going to catch up to the 97 is going to be that of Keith Bradley that we see currently on screen, and as well the 34 of Ditmer are going to be the next drivers making their charge forward. Big credit, though, to the drivers that are trying to get by the 39 contest going to be made, as it's going to be Peacock into that of Hagen, and Hagen's going to be going out with a yellow flag wave. They're wrecking going into turn number 1. Our champions involved, so are many others. It's the big one.
Oh, huge pile up over there in the corners. The 46 stags the inside wall, and everybody trying to slow up here and not make a worse situation as we go to the Bolts Bumper instant replay. We'll see what happened over there.
drivers just hoping that they can get through. And honestly, I gotta say, this is one of those things where it's over with how jam-packed and how big the field is. These wrecks are just as big as super speedway wrecks can be. The 46 just absolutely demolishes the front bumper, and you just see the aftermath, the smoke piling through, drivers seeing the races being done. And we're trying to figure out where exactly this race and this accident starts. I think it starts even further ahead of this. We're going to be kind of a little bit of there's the bump into the 7, and then it's already wrecking ahead as drivers were trying to slow down at that point. So this is the secondary wreck. Oh, man.
It just looked like one of those chain reactions, and then another one, and then another one of everybody checking up. We talked about how complicated it is to try and get the truck slowed down here when everybody's running at pace, and unfortunately, there's the incident.
Well, look, what seemed to be the slow car that was everyone's trying to get by, and out of the corner, there have been multiple times where they made contact, and there it was. Catalyst to this most recent wreck. And now driver's going to be able to come into pit road as we were looking at that replay. Now driver's getting some pit stops done, and looks like everyone from about 17th on back all coming into pit road gauge service. So, Kevin, no surprise, I think, for the drivers that came into pit road on that last caution, deciding not to come into pit road and use their last set just yet.
Yeah, this caution's going to jumble the field up one more time. Some drivers are going to take the opportunity to go get their tires if they didn't do it before. Balder out front. The question is, will Rivera, running in second, go get his tires? Will Dittmer go get tires? Hard to say if, these drivers have any tire sets left, too. Sometimes it's tough for us to track all that. But, that 97... Jose Luis Rivera, good run here, up 9 positions from where he started. And, we talked about you got to figure out the strategy to be up there. And truck looks pretty clean at this point, too.
Yeah, truck keeping it as clean as possible right now, and taking the track position of deciding to stay out. Not a bad call. But the big advantage that Rivera had was the fact that he was able to get ahead of all the other drivers that had fresh tires. So he had over a second gap lead over that group that was being held up. Well, now he's going to be swarmed immediately on this restart, so we'll see how well the 97 could hold out. As we look at some of the other drivers that we haven't really talked about that much here tonight, gotta give credit to Jacob Klinkhart back in 11. Great run for himself. Biggest mover, though, of the night is the 39 of Dana Hagen, who is currently our Blanchard Towing or Charger Award at 23 positions up from where they started. And then also the next closest were 3 drivers all tied with that. You got Ed Olson in 14th up 21 positions. You got that of Curtis Hedden as well as Clinton Amato going to be up 21 positions for those 3 drivers.
Yeah, tip of the cap also to lucky 13th driver right now, the 44 of Logan Quinn, up 18 positions. And, sometimes the best strategy is good defense. You run out back for a while, let things clean out, and then the second half of the race with your clean truck and fresh tires, see if you can get up there and mix it up with these guys. A couple of these guys have parlayed that strategy very well. Jose Luis Rivera obviously being the key to that, running second right now, but we still have some of these strong drivers and quite a bit of laps left. On a mile racetrack, though, Sam, the laps tick off quickly for these drivers out in the back. If they've got something, they better start coming forward.
They got to make sure they don't get held up for too long. Got to make these moves. And also, you got to be thinking for the drivers that are back in 16th and 17th position. Some of them just took new tires. And so they're going to be having an advantage of over that of 13 to potentially 15 lap fresher tires in those. And we've seen how much tire advantage has been to try to get you up front. Pace truck is up. We're now green. It's the A's lawn and Landscape 150. And it's all that of the 6 machine up front as Rivera is going to be absolutely shoved by Bradley into turn number 1.
Side by side for that third position, fourth position, fifth position, sixth position. They're still tussling over there on the back straightaway. They drive down through that bump and arc that corner, see if they can carry as much speed as possible. Good run for the 29. Bradley, he's got a secure race truck coming up, and he's putting a big challenge to Rivera.
Rivera's doing everything possible to try to defend that position again. Rivera's going to be on 12-lap older tires than the drivers that he's around currently. So the 97 at the disadvantage, did his best to hold off and gives the best shot for the 6, to continue to pull away. But there goes Bradley, Mullins, everyone else. It's the train to get by Rivera now.
Yeah, for Rivera, he's just got to try and cover that position, see if he can hold some of those guys up, prevent their runs, and he's holding his own. He's going to look underneath the 12 truck, see if he can get a run, but here comes Dittmer to the bottom. Unfortunately, once they open that hole, everybody else drives through. Peacock trying to stay tucked onto that back bumper like a rope is pulling him through. And look at Wade to the outside there trying to make the outside group go.
Yeah, it's Ted Wade and Adam Newberg. They're going to be stuck on the outside lane. I don't think that's where they would like to be, but this is the second time that Wade has been stuck in traffic and kind of was in the not the lane he wants to be in. But Rivera's able to hold on. And as they go on turn number 4, Peacock has not been able to follow Denver. He's going to have to try in the entry of turn 1. And here he comes, diving it down low. Thought for a second he was going to slide up. The fresh tires work, but it's Cinnamon who gets into Rivera. Rivera into the wall, and there they go. Once again on the back stretch, keeping it straight. We stay green, but hard contact for drivers further back. You could just tell it was boiling up to that point where they were going to get some contact there, Kevin.
Oh, what a shame for Rivera. Fortunately for him on the backstretch, they hit him square. They didn't turn him around and shove him into that inside wall, but damage is done. He's back there to 17th, unfortunately. But we're watching this battle between Painter and Wade. At one point, the ticker says Wade's out front. The other point, Painter's out front. Right now, Painter has a nose ahead coming out of turn number 3 into 4, and he's going to get the position. So we got a smoker down there on pit road.
Pit road, all of the drivers that have blown their end, that smoke and plume just continues to grow each lap. And so no surprise that we're seeing more and more smoke building on the front stretch and on the entry and the exit of turn 4 as we're continuing to watch the battling here for the drivers in the middle of the pack. Also starting to see a little bit of rumbling here for the lead as we have drivers that are catching up to lap traffic, and the smoke plume is starting to grow a little bit more as driver down below blown up. That's going to be our championship 3 winner. It's going to be LaBeouf blown up and done for the night as our leaders continue to race on.
If you believe he's going to be able to make it to pit road, and what a huge run Keith Bradley had. The 6 was loose into turn number 3. The truck yawed sideways. Bradley got right to the back bumper. I even think the second place truck had to ease up a little bit. That's why there's a little touch of a gap here. The amount of damage couldn't be more perfect for Keith Bradley. It hit right in the middle of that back bumper, and you know, if you're going to get damaged, that's the place to go. Don't damage the front. But right now we see slow trucks impeding line for our leaders, and I don't know, Bradley looks like he's eased out a little bit here.
I mean, all these drivers are, for our leaders at least, they're trying to get by this lap traffic as quickly and as smooth as possible. And for some, they know where to place themselves to get out of the way. And for our leaders, this is when it can get dangerous because you might have a more comfortable lane. Like we noted on, this is kind of the more traditional route is to run as low as possible, but with more grip being placed on this racetrack, the longer it goes on, more that outer groove starts to become more and more prevalent, and the drivers might like to drive on the outside while the lap cars are not sure really where to place themselves and could, like I said, impede and complete losing time as we're seeing right now that of Mullins and others getting by lap traffic.
Yeah, Balder got held up a little bit going into turn 1 by Rudder. Now Rudder's going to go to the high side and allow the 29 Bradley to go by, but that was something Bradley was looking for. Maybe Bradley's just kind of conserving himself here, holding some tires in case there's going to be a late race caution. He can use that to his advantage because Alder out front has set sail. We see the 81 of Peacock running into fifth position, 2.5 seconds behind our leader right now. Everybody seems to be stretched out, and this is that
Oh
part
boy,
of the race.
go back to the 8th. Big save by that of Jacob Glenhart, who found himself being spun around. Amazing save for the 5. And that was right in front of a pack of 8 drivers. Somehow they are able to slip and split everyone. And there wasn't a wreck where there really should have been.
Yeah, right now everybody's just trying to either race the racetrack or trying to catch the truck in front of them, guard the truck from behind them, as we see the 42 down low. Trying to make that position. It's so hard to come off the corner there and not be able to use all the racetrack.
I mean, they're trying their best to continue to race on as hard as they can. And also, you got to be thinking for some of these drivers, they still have the damage they had gotten earlier in other wrecks, as Ed Olson still challenging Devin Painter so much for this 11th position. The 42, who has been trying to just stay consistent, keep on growing. One of our bigger movers here this race, qualified back in 32nd position. We saw the poor qualifying from that of Olson. He's now moved up. That of Clay Carr's been able to move up 10 positions to qualify back in that of 20th. But here comes Painter, who wants to get aggressive and get back into the top 10.
Good run up off the corner. He's going to clear the truck, and Painter is going to slide into that 10th position. And you got to look at Balder out front. He's our 8th different leader tonight. First time he's been out front. And he's just set sail on these guys, and you have to wonder if he's running the truck a little bit too hard. And the other driver that was there with him was the 2 of Wade, but I see this 29 and the 34. They got something, man. They're sitting there in 3rd and 4th. They're closing that gap down. And Bradley has been one of the fastest trucks lap after lap in this late stage.
I mean, he was running very quickly, but I think that damage might be catching up to the 29. We'll see this go around on how fast he is, but fastest truck on track. That last time by, it was going to be the 6 machine, who is still flying around with a 24.2, and oh no, that wreck on the backstretch, issues and yellow waves, and it's the 05. It's Hunter Parsons.
That's a pretty significant hit there, as the truck is bent on the front and the back. We'll go to the replay to see what happened over there.
This is going to be right in front of our leader when this happened. And yes, the question is, should the lap car get out of the way? But at the same time, the 6 just runs right over Hunter Parsons. I don't think he was expecting the 05 to be that slow. But when you're in lap traffic, you've got to be aware that they aren't going to always have time to get out of the way, especially out of the corner.
Yeah, in that case, you got to have situational awareness. You got to know the driver's coming. You could look at the relative and know how much speed that leader's carrying. And well, out of the way, here comes Balder to pit road. He's going to be following the parade as everybody goes in. And if you have a set of tires, now's the time to use them.
I mean, everyone has a set still left, I believe, except for a handful of drivers that are going to have to stay out. Who used their final set just about 20 laps ago. So this is going to be one of those, cross your fingers and hope that I think it's going to actually be one of those moments, Kevin, that we just talked about earlier a couple of restarts ago, where we're going to have to close our eyes or have our eyes go peeling through between our fingers, as we're going to be just freaking out with some of the drivers are going to be up front, as it's going to be Velder getting a better launch out, going to be beating out everyone else that came into pit road. It's going to be the 6, the 12, 32, and others. Thought for a second that the 6 would have a lot more front-end damage to repair. Feels like wasn't a lot of damage that had to get repaired if he wasn't able to get out as fast as he did.
Yeah, the good news for him was the 05 was up to speed coming up off the corner. He just kind of punched him out of the way. When you're both carrying that amount of speed, fortunately, doesn't do significant damage, but we will see on this restart whether the 6 is going to have some problems as we ride with number 39. And with some of these trucks, they get that Martinsville kind of look to them. They're beaten and battered all the way around.
Yeah, up front, our front front 3 are going to be drivers that have decided to stay out. That of Dana Hagen, as well as Michael McKinnon and Clint Mata, going to be your top 3 that are going to be on about 24 to 25 lap older tires than the drivers behind them. So they're going to be quite a margin off of the pace once we go green. But it's going to be the 39 that's going to have the best launch for themselves. And then we've got our 6 machine of Daniel Belder, as well as that of Derek Mullins, Dittmer, Peacock, Bradley, Chris Cinnamon, Zed Wade going to be your top 10. And we're slowly losing a lot of drivers. We're now down to that of only 20 drivers left on the lead lap currently, with more drivers have been calling it a night. That of Stefan Gregory in the 61, the 48 of Rob Richards, as well as Brad LaBeouf going to be calling it a night, as well as 46 of Dale Adamson. They are all parking it, and it is a done deal for themselves. Going to be off the server and getting prepared for next week, which next week, Kevin, these drivers going to Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, super fast racetrack, multiple grooves. You carry so much speed down into the corner, and a lot of drivers will tell you that they just love that racetrack. It runs like a super speedway, but no restrictor plate. And, yeah, I love watching races at Auto Club. One of the best in the sim.
Excited to see how well these trucks are going to be able to adapt, especially because it's going to be the biggest race on the oval side that we've ran so far this season next week at Auto Club. 2 miles of like groove draft being so important. Figure out how to work with your teammates on the straightaways. First, they have to conquer Miles the Monster. This is the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150 here at the Monster Mile for race number 3 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Again, my name is Sam Dyer. With me is Kevin England, as well as that of LSRTV Studios, giving us all the cameras and graphics here tonight as we are ready for these drivers to get going. It's going to be Hagen, McKinnon, as well as Mata and Belder going to be your top. Going to be your first 2 rows with that Mittner, Mullins, Bradley, Peacock, Wade, and Chris Cinnamon going to be finishing out your top 10. Pace truck is off. It's time for us to get racing once again as we're coming up to 30 laps to go here. And just a couple of laps here, and on the lap pedal is the 39. Maybe not the best restart, but good enough to make sure they've got at least 2 truck length lead before the rest of the pack comes rolling by.
Yeah, Balder able to streak around for that second position. I'm excited to see if some of these guys had a little something in the tank. But, oh, man, it is pandemonium out back. Hagen going to cover that bottom line. Here comes Balder to the bottom 7 up high for Mata, looking for position. And, well, we got an incident over there in turn number 3.
Michael McKinnon going to be spun around, and more drivers piling in after that. Takes the tow, is the 13. And you talk about pandemonium. Well, we're going to see it here on our Pulse Poppers instant replay. See 13 just off the pace. The damage so much. Just not sure where to place himself on the inside. And then finally into the corner. A little bit of a tap from that of Peacock. And 13 just goes sliding around into Cinnamon. And now everyone else nowhere to go.
Yes, such a break, bad break for Cinnamon, as he's had a pretty good race and was up in that position where he was trying to get himself into that top 5 and going to get caught up in that. But that's a blessing for Dane Hagen in that 39. He's going to be able to take command of this race one more time. And, you know, you got to say, he had a pretty good restart there. Got a good run on the high side. And as beaten and bannered as that truck is, he was able to keep it high, wide, and handsome there going through turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell the 6 was coming with a lot of speed, but was able to hold on. That caution extremely helpful to make sure the 39 is still in the lead. We got 30 laps to go here tonight, but look at the field now. It keeps on just dwindling more and more, which all the damage is coming in. But I'm wondering for these drivers, as I believe Hagen's already used all 4 sets of tires from pit road, so they're going to be staying out there every single time on this restart. But Kevin, when would you think that the last moment, for if you have an extra set left, would you think about coming into pit road?
I think they have to go now. If you had another set, now is the time, because if there is a handful of cautions and you take yourself to a green-white checker, you're not going to have enough race time to take advantage of those tires. So if I had fresh tires, right now would be about the time I'd be ducked in.
For each one of these cautions that come out, it takes away about 5 laps for these drivers. They got to make sure that they've got enough time to at least start moving forward. But looking at this field, starting to see some new faces starting to creep into the top 10 because there's drivers that are falling out of this race. Those that are around the top 10, you got Devin Painter in 9th, you got Justin Limkin in 10th, Eric Zimmerman, who I really talked about all race long, the 94 is up in 11th, with that of Hayden going to be in the 95 and 12th, Olsen in 13th, Nichols in 14th, Mata as well as James Morris going to be your 15th to 16th place position drivers. And then you got the collection of drivers that were up front that have been caught up in wrecks that are struggling to stay up in the lead. We got 19 drivers on the lead lap, but we might be down to just 18 once we go green with the amount of drivers that are still out in pit road.
And from a point championship, the tight confines of this racetrack, it's racing like a short track here tonight. A lot of drivers have found some problems, so we expect a big shakeup in the points. It's still early, but you know what? This is the time where you make your season, and this could be where someone gets a good jump-off point to put themselves in contention to run for a championship later with a good run coming out of Dover and the misfortune of some of the other contenders.
As up front again is the 39 of Hagen, Boulder, Mullins, Ditmore, Peacock, Keith Bradley in 6th place, Ted Wade, Adam Newberg, Devin Painter, and Justin Limkin going to be your top 10. Gotta love the fact that we are in the virtual world. We're able to communicate with chat. Some people were wondering where drivers are at. Joey Doucette is back in 28th position currently, 16 laps down, and has gotten repairs done, back out on track, but heavily damaged is that 16 machine. But up front, you can even say the same thing, Kevin, for our leader. Heavily damaged, but at least is on the lead lap and leading the race currently.
Yeah, will and determination is going to get him a win here tonight. He just needs to look out the windshield, not worry about what's going on behind him. He's in a good position. Unfortunately, as he looks to the left, boy, that 6 truck has been fast all night long, and there's a couple other strong trucks out behind him, but go get what you can here. As the pace truck just about to turn left and turn the field over for a restart. After cautioned, I think it's number 11. Let's see if we can get green to the finish.
I think I lost track after stage 2. I don't. If anyone wants to go back,
my notes say 11.
That number. I mean, hopefully for us to go tell how many cautions we've had, because it's been a lot. I mean, it's kind of no surprise. That's kind of what Dover gives you sometimes. You never know if you're going to be getting a clean run all the way through, or it can stay clean and green, or if you get these types of races where drivers are trying their best not to run over one another, but it's just bound to happen.
And we got to look back to the complexion of this race. There's been a bunch of different storylines. Remember, the 6 had connection problems. They threw a caution to see if they could salvage his race, and here he is contending for the win. If that had gone the other direction and parked him, this was not going to be the opportunity for him to get win number 2 in the season. And here he sits with the potential to get it, and has a strong truck underneath him. Looking back to some of these other drivers who've had great runs, Keith Bradley, we talked about him coming in. He needed a good run. He needed to get that momentum going in the right direction, sitting in that top 5, top 6 all night long. Taylor Peacock, the 81s, had a strong run. And I'll tell you, boy, you just look at the talent through this field. We've had a lot of fast trucks. The one that struggled the most, surprisingly, is the 64. Painter, he's in 10th. Let's see where he ends up in the final tally.
Painter's got to try to find a little bit more speed, but green flags out of the air, as it is the A's Lawn and Landscape Queen 150 and into turn number 1. It's going to be side by side for 2nd place. It's going to be Ditmer as well as Belder going to be keeping it close. The question is, where does Hagen put himself? The 39 going to go high, wide, and now we're going to be seeing 2 wide, 3 rows deep. And here comes the 6, finding the space, moving forward and slicing and dicing. They're 3 wide now out of turn number 3. Ditmer's able to make the clean pass, but watch out, here comes that 34, slash into the inside, trying to get by that of Bradley.
Ditmer on the charge. Pablo tried to break away and see if he can get on there really tight coming up. He's going to squeeze up in front of him, able to find a position, and contact on the backstretch.
It's going to be Peacock, and then we saw also 39 absolutely I don't know if he didn't know where the brake was, but using up the 12 completely into the corner, Derek Mullins, who was going for a top 5 run, sees his race snuffed out in an instant. Pulse Poppers instant replay. I mean, we can have our thoughts. You can have your own as we take a replay here. You see the contact. That's Peacock into Mullins and then into the straightaway. I mean, the 12 also looked like he came down a little bit there. I mean, it's just such close, hard racing between the two. And then at that point, everyone's just being a pinball machine at the end of the race.
And you can't emphasize enough. It seems like, well, why don't they slow down and not hit the trucks? But you're carrying so much speed. If you step on the brake, you're just going to lock up, slide up into the wall, and it happens in such an instant. There's really not much you could do. You're a victim of the circumstance there, and that's just frustrating for these drivers. You know, you have to anticipate that they're not going to give at all at the end of the race, but that was just couple racing connections on the backstretch and led to a series of events. Who was that went to pit road there?
That was Olsen that got bumped into pit road. He had nowhere to go on that one.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Just you know, as it looks like a pool table sometimes, the way they bounce off each other.
Well, the drivers now, I'm hearing them over the radio. They are all just taking a deep breath. I know Dittmer and a couple of others they're still baffled in the fact that they were 3 wide for a moment and actually survived for the moment that they were in. But there are a couple of other drivers that are still a little frustrated with the way this race is going, and even under pacing, seems to be some contact between that Painter into the 12. Interesting to see enough as drivers were heading into pit road. You see the 12 after making his contact with the 64. Finding himself into pit road, but that 12 of Mullins, again, a driver that was doing so well for most of this race, and seeing your race snuffed out this late on. I mean, I know some drivers, they would much more prefer to see their race completely taken out in the first 20 laps instead of the final 20 laps.
Yeah, and you know, these are these events where you make notebooks, right? Is somebody on your list? Or are you going to forget about it and go to Auto Club next week and just say it's a race and deal after you review it? Hard to say, but these type of races, they do stick in the memory. You know, the funny thing is you ask a driver what happened last time they come to Dover, and they can almost universally tell you exactly what happened, who they had contact with, where they finished, and all of that. Any racetrack. So these drivers, they're like elephants. They never forget.
Oh, they never do. And you think of the best racetracks to possibly get some, payback, you could say. I mean, we got North Wilkesboro here in 2 weeks. Going to be February 18th. Here is when the next short track's going to be. North Wilkes. That is a track that is so unique with the verticality changes into turns 1 and 3. I mean, that's going to be a track that potentially you could get some payback. There's a couple of others. You got National Fairgrounds. It's going to be back in week 11 for these drivers. And that's going to be a good one because that's going to be on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Who knows? We could be making a fool out of these other drivers. But for tonight, the laps continue to tick down. And for our leader, I got to say for the 6, potentially going for his second win of the season. But Kevin, you think back of, we talk about storylines. Last week, the 6 was actually removed from the session in the middle of the race when he was up in the top 5, but was trying to go for his second win of the season last week at Watkins Glen. Was not able to even go for that attempt. Now trying to go for his second win at Dover, give himself a second chance. This has got to be feeling good for himself if he's able to get a win here.
Yeah, for that inadvertent incident last week, it could have possibly been 3 in a row for the 6 truck, and that is making quite a statement for the 6. Unfortunately, for him, he's just got to make sure that he keeps good relationships with these guys because he's going to be running fender to fender with them later this year for championship. And we see the 12. Unfortunately for Mullins, it's an end of the night for him. He has signed off, and he's not going to come back to the racetrack.
Well, we started with 41 drivers. We are now down to just 13 on the lead lap. The 6 got some front end damage, but it doesn't matter because we're on the loud pedal, and it is 20 laps to go. Here it's over for the Hayes Lawn and Landscaping 150. It's single file for our front 3, side by side for 4th. It's Wade, Peacock, and finally you could say Ted Wade is moving in the right direction.
And that wrestling match between Bradley and Dittmer has settled out here. Bradley able to jump up to second. We'll see if he can chase down that 6 as Wade hunting underneath. It's so tough to make that run without having all of the racetrack to use. If you get down underneath somebody and it pitches down, that's going to open the opportunity possibly for Peacock to get in there and see if he can steal away a top 5. As wait, here comes the run for the 34 underneath Bradley. I thought that was over, but they're side by side out of 4.
Tyler Dittmer going to be trying to make the move for the 34 on the inside. You got that of Keith Bradley on the outside, battling for second place. Tyler Dittmer, he is the most consistent driver currently. The other most consistent driver, Stephen Thomas, already saw his race done. For this Dittmer, he's trying to carry the streak of having a top 10 finish every single race, and also going for his first top 5 finish here potentially. But for the 6th that puts in the lead, he's going for his second win potentially here. And I gotta say, Kevin, the pressure is starting to build, and the question of who's gonna make the late dive bomb move here late could be really the question mark as we continue to run on.
And certainly this race is not over. You would have thought maybe Baldler, as fast as he's been, was going to run off, but these guys are hanging tough right there. They're within a truck length, 1/4 to the jar, and you know, they're using all 24 degrees of this banking as they drive it down in hard. Man, I'm just seeing some on the go here for Keith Bradley. He's up on the wheel, elbows up, driving hard up off the corner, using more racetrack. He's tucked right in that slip, and you know, if the 6, I have to imagine he's going to feel the pressure looking out that back window.
Well, the question also has to be who's feeling the pressure more. Is it going to be that of Elder, or is it going to be that of Bradley Keith as he's right on that drag bumper? Keith with the major run for the 29, not able to make the pass, but certainly try to give a slight bump, try to get the 6 to get off the throttle. But as they continue to race on, you got to be careful because that of our Blanchard Towing Pole Sitter Award winner, Ted Wade, back and forth. He's now starting to put a little bit of pressure on the 34 Dittmer.
Right now you got a 5 truck breakaway, a little gap back to Adam Newbert sitting in there in 6th position in that number 4. And everybody kind of running nose to tail. If you got anything in the tank, now's the time to use it as the laps are ticking down. We're going to get to 10 to go in just a few minutes here. And man, what a good run for any one of these drivers in the top 5. With a little bit of luck, they can get themselves in. I'm looking for when the opportunity comes that somebody gets side by side, the truck behind them can take advantage of that.
And also the looming question of, do you have the tires or the air? Dirty air has been a huge factor for these drivers, but it's going to be that of Keith Bradley using up the tires too much. Here comes that of Tyler Dittmer to the inside, trying to make fast for second. The 34 clears, and just like that, slide job move out of 4, and clean is the 34. Tyler Dittmer out of nowhere, qualified all the way back in 25th position, 17th position, excuse me. And it's been up 15 spots. One of our biggest movers of the drivers are in our top 5, and now it's got a shot to try to challenge for the lead. As here comes that of Ted Wade, our pole sitter, pressuring the 29.
Wade down underneath, got a good run up off the corner, goes across the stripe. He's going to put a nose ahead, drive down to that wide line. Look to see if he can clear him coming up out of turn number 2. He's going to do it to the back straightaway, give Ted Wade that 3rd position.
We saw this in the first part of, for the end part of stage 1 and the end point of stage 2. The drivers that were aggressive, yes, they can move up, but the tire wear was so massive. 10 laps to go, now 9, up to 9 laps to go for these drivers. It is all that of the 6 of Daniel Belter, who's trying to get himself his 2nd win of the season. But the 6 has a big issue. He's got lap traffic ahead. Lap traffic going to go to the high side, get out of the way. That's going to be the 47. Clean move there, but there's still a lot more traffic to deal with. As Kevin, this is the worst case scenario. He's got 3 very slow cars in front of the 6.
A lot of times you look so far down the straightaway and you're just trying to see if you can find that right spot. Maybe you ease out a little bit so on the entry of the corner you could drive down under and clear him by the exit of the corner, and fortunately for him that's the way it played out.
Woo, for a second it got dangerous. It's down. Here goes Ted Wade. A little bit of a bobble from the 17 that costs time for Dittmer. Now it's going to be Ted Wade on the back bumper of the 34th for second place. 7 laps to go. And it looks like the 6 continues to pull away over half a second, but it's Dittmer. Wade, this is the battle. Who can try to challenge the 6? It looks like Dittmer might have worn down those tires too much. Our pole sitter, Ted Wade, he's had to fight and claw ever since he fell back to 7th place and had a strugglesome pit stop. He is now getting his best opportunity to go for a lead here. 6 laps to go. Going to be 5 laps when they come across the line.
Peaks and nose down underneath. They're dead even into turn number 3. Here comes Wade with the charge out of turn number 4. He's going to pull up in front of him, see if he can do the slide job. He's going to get the position. And Dittmer slaps the wall. That's going to slide him back. He's got enough cushion. Now the question is, does Wade have anything to change and charge down Balder in the number 6?
Or will a caution come side by side? You saw there was Bradley as well as Peacock still challenging. This is for 4th place position, and watch out. Here comes the 4. Here comes the 64. It's Newbert as well as Painter. They're closing in on this battle for 4th place, so there's still a lot of positions and all just gaps that are starting to dwindle and come closer and closer as up front. It all seems like Belder's got this thing almost sealed. Can't call it just yet because you always know a late caution is looming here at Dover, but obviously right now, Ted Wade, the last lap 1 tenth faster. We'll see this go around. That time 3 tenths faster. The 2 is closing in. But the question here, Kevin, with 3 laps to go, I don't know if there's enough time for the 2 to get close enough to make the pass.
The clock is ticking for Wade. He is running faster lap times, but just not enough to get there. He needs a caution, and you know, got to take 1 second and say, what a good run for Lumpkin, for Klinkart, for Hagen to see themselves, get themselves a top 10 in the late going here. But out front, what an impressive run by this rookie, Balder. He's going to go for 2 wins in 3 races.
It has been the 6 machine. Won the first race, surprised everyone, had controversy, but out of turn number 4, coming to the white flag, it's our CRN. 1 to go. Go to wearecrn.com for more information and great high school and college sports coverage. It's going to be all that in the 6. That Daniel Belder is going to be joining and being up front. He's doing a great job all race. He had to work his way, qualified back in 9th, had to move up 8 positions. It took him about half of the race to finally get up here. But once he got the lead, don't worry, because no one else touched him. The win goes to the 6 of Daniel Belder here at the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150. Congratulations for win number 2. And for everyone else, congratulations for surviving the mayhem here at the Monster Mile.
Good recovery there for Tyler Dittmer to hold on there and get his 3rd position. And how about that? The number 4 of Adam Newbert coming back for a top 5.
Tyler Peacock really did fall off there late. Tried his best to get by that of Keith Bradley, not able to. But the 6 was able to get up front, found the security, had a couple of big bumps with lap traffic in front of him, had to make some big moves to get himself into the lead. You can see that front bumper crinkled up, the engine, the smoke. Somehow, this 6 found himself to victory lane. Kevin, you look at this field. Ted Wade, obviously, we thought in the first half he was going to be the class act, and he certainly did everything in his power to close in that gap. It was too far back. Tyler Dittmer gets his first top 5. The only driver this season that has finished in the top 10 every single race this season. And we're seeing a lot more consistency. Maybe might be our drivers to watch out for once the playoffs come around here in just about 13 weeks.
Yeah, no doubt as Balder is going to burn down what is left of those tires on that next Diag Toyota as he has it against the front. And the fans are screaming here at the Dover Monster Mile as we'll be back shortly with your top 3. right
Well,
after these
first, we
messages.
got to get to our unofficial racing results, and that's going to be seeing our top 10 first. It's going to be that of Daniel Belder, as well as Ted Wade, Tyler Dittmer, Keith Bradley, Adam Newbert, with with that of Taylor Peacock going to be in 6th place position, with 7th going to Devin Painter and Justin Lumpkin, and Jacob Clinthart, as well as that of Hagen, finishing out your top 10. 11th through 20th, over to you Kevin.
94 of Eric Zimmerman quietly comes home in the 11th position. Jeffrey Sickles in the 22 and 12. 13th for Clint Mata, and Jose Luis Rivera led a couple laps here tonight. 1 lap down. He's going to finish in the 14th slot. James D. Morris in the 47, top 15 for him. Matt Rudder in the 33, 16th. A eventful night for Cody Knott, but he's able to soldier home for a 17th place finish in the number 26. Brandon Bullock in the 17 truck, 18th, 19th for Joey Doucette in the number 16, and rounding out your top 20 to 42, Ed Osborne.
Then in 21st position, we find that of Dana Shepard, as well as that of Derek Mullins, who was really up front, thought was going to have a good solid run, but was caught up in a wreck. Hayden, as well as Michael McKinnon, Quinn, Stephen Gregory, Hunter Parsons, who was up front for quite a bit there. Robert Richards, who qualified well. Our Season 3 champion, he gets caught up in a wreck there late. He's 29th for Brady LaBeouf, and as well that of Christopher Blanchard, going to be finishing out our top 30.
Adamson, Meza, Kilgore, Lothian, not a good run for our winner last week, 34th for the 59. Steve Thomas, tough run tonight, 35th. Torrey Thompson, Kyle Hess in the 86 out early, 37th for him. Zach Hardwick in the 88 scored 38 tonight. 39th is 8th of Austin McKinnon. Justin Pitts in the 27 scored in that 40th position, and well, it's going to be Chris Cinnamon scratch on the field here, finishing in the last position in the number 3 truck.
Well, now after you saw our unofficial results, we are going to step aside for a quick moment. When we come back, it is our finish line post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3, that of Tyler Dittmer, Ted Wade, and also into our butt kicker victory lane, we'll talk to that of Daniel Butler. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our finish line post-race show for NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, race number 3 for that of the A's Lawn and Landscaping 150. What a race it was. Plenty of yellows. Pulse Poppers got their share of replays. But for these drivers up front, what consistency they showed here tonight. We're going to be throwing it down to 3rd place runner, that of Tyler Dittmer, to get his point of view as one of the most consistent drivers in the first 3 races. The only driver to finish in the top 10 all season for all 3 races. We'll see if we can continue that next week. But Tyler, what a run for yourself. You got aggressive, tried to make some big moves. The 34 came up just a little bit shy. What else could you try to do there late?
I don't know, man. It's just I kind of burned my stuff up in that 3 wide scenario before that last caution with Peacock and Hagen, with Bradley losing it in front of me almost. Kind of put a lot of pressure on the tires. So I'm happy with the way the truck handled tonight. The racing up front was at least good. Maybe not as much in the back, but yeah, I'm another top 10. Take it. Kind of offended. Wasn't on the top 10 drivers list in the Powers rankings this past week that we put out. So maybe they'll finally take notice that I'm probably the most consistent guy in the field.
And Kevin, do you have any questions there for Tyler?
Tyler, tell me a little bit about racing in that pack. It looked like you guys really had your work cut out for you.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic, especially with all the damaged cars, kind of creating a lot of traffic. I'm not looking forward to the super speedways. I don't like them personally. I don't like pack racing. I think it requires less talent, more luck. So hopefully, once we get to those mile and a halfs and short tracks, I'll prove myself again. But yeah, just see what happens. But appreciate it. Thanks, gents.
Yeah, Tyler, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Lizardworks Racing, MDM Motorsports, another points finish for the team, Derek Mullins, Austin McKinnon. Guys helped me out running the car, teaching me a lot. Hopefully I teach them a lot too. And Triple M Truck Series, you guys at LSRTV, appreciate all the work you guys put into this. And hopefully I'll be back here next week.
We hope to hear you as well. That's going to be the 34. Tyler Dittmer going to be finishing in third place. First top 5 this season. We'll see if we can get a couple of more of those. Have a great rest of your night there, Tyler, and good luck next week.
Thank you.
As now we head to second place in the number 2. It's Ted Wade. Comes away with that of the Blanchard Towing Pole Sitter Award, but just comes up a position shy for first place. Ted, we saw how hard you were pressuring to get into the lead, well, at least just get up to second. How difficult was it for yourself, though, getting through traffic? Because we saw how dominant you were leading this race, but once we saw you in traffic, it seemed to be a different story.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Traffic changes it a lot. Everybody here is pretty close. I think qualifying, everybody was within a tenth or so, and everyone's running the same line, and you don't want to burn your tires up too early, so you try to stay high, try to stay consistent, and then once you realize that guys are slowing down, you try to make your moves. I know Tyler there at the end, I didn't think I was going to be able to get him, but I was able to get a nose under him there, and he ran me pretty clean, got around him, and tried to chase down Daniel. I think if I had about 5 more laps, I might have got to his bumper, but definitely hard racing today.
It absolutely was. We're going to throw it over to Kevin for a question that he's got.
Yeah, Ted, how hard was it to execute the pass when you got underneath the truck and ran side by side with him?
Oh, it's very difficult. You don't want to hit the apron, because you hit the apron, you're going to come up and smack the guy, and you're just feathering the throttle. You can't go wide open. It was definitely very difficult.
Well said. Now we're going to be heading over to Auto Club, the first of, you could say, Super Speedway Racing 2-mile big course. How are you feeling about that track?
I think I might do some practicing this week. I don't have a whole lot of laps on Auto Club.
Well, before we let you go there, Ted, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, guys, I just like to thank you here at LSRTV. Over the Top Designs, Triple M Pulling, Racer Apparel, Abruzzi Racewear, and NASRA for putting on this excellent series, and my teammates over at Upfront Motorsports.
That's going to be the 2 of Ted Wade finishing in second place here at Dover. Congratulations and good luck going into next week.
Thanks, guys.
And now we head over to the Butt Kicker Victory Lane, where we find a driver that we've talked to before. Once again, 2 out of the 3 races, this 6 machine has found Victory Lane. It's going to be that of Daniel Belder. Daniel, what a run for yourself. You qualified out in 9th place, not your best qualifying run, but you worked, was patient all night long, then you found yourself in the lead. Once you took the lead, how comfortable were you knowing that you had the chance to win here tonight?
Yeah, I was pretty comfortable once I got out front. I got a little help with this track here a while back from one of my teammates over at RMS, and had a great spotter to be able to help me get through this race too. And so no, I felt really confident once we got out front. I knew we had to be patient. Like you said, I didn't have the best qualifying lap. I kind of bumped the apron coming out of 4 there, and kind of fell off on my qualifying, but no, that was the name of the game, was being patient, just trying to get yourself up for the front there. So.
And Kevin, you got a question?
Yeah, Daniel, how was the tire conservation here tonight? How much of a difference did that and clean air make for you?
It was pretty big. you know, I tried really hard to save my tires on those first runs, and I felt like I did a really good job. You know, that second stage, I don't think we were going to get up there and win it by any means. I felt like if we would have ran clear to the end of it under green, I could have maybe challenged Ted there for second, but we'll take a finish there. And so going into that last stage, I really saved my tires there on the first run and everything, and you know, that helped me get back up to the front. There on that last run, Ted started running me down there at the end. I think I just kind of burned him up trying to stay out front with that little bit of a shorter run to the finish, and he just did a better job saving tires. Thank goodness it was only 150 laps instead of about 155. Otherwise, I think it would have got me interesting.
Yeah.
Certainly would have. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for shout-outs.
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys here at LSRTV. You guys put on a heck of a broadcast. Thank everybody with NASRA series and everything for welcoming me in and putting on a good league here for us to run in. It's a pretty fun league. Everybody races pretty good and everything. And definitely got to thank Next Dive coming on board, sponsoring me here this season. And like I said a little bit earlier, my spotter Jake gets me through the traffic and gets the race strategy figured out for us. So it wouldn't be possible without him.
That's going to be the sixth machine. Daniel, we're going to be getting the win here tonight. Second win of the season. We'll see if we can go for number 3 next week. Good luck there.
All right, thanks, guys.
Well, Kevin, it was a great run for all these drivers. Before we leave here, it's over. What are some of your thoughts here tonight?
I just can't imagine how action-packed this race was tonight. At the complexion of the race, up, down, different changes, it didn't disappoint us. What a great race they had.
Absolutely incredible here tonight for 150 laps. We'll see how well they can change it up next week at Auto Club for out of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series for race number 4. But for us at LSRTV, thanks for joining us. More broadcast coverage Sunday night. Cannot wait to give you all that. It's the Major Series, Daytona 500, round number 2 of the Majors. Check us out. Link, there should be a link already for the broadcast here on the LSRTV schedule, so go check it out on Sunday. But for us here tonight, big thanks to that of Kevin England, as well as myself, Sam Dyer, and LSRTV Studios. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next week for Sunday.